Hey everybody, I just want to welcome you guys back. I hope everybody had a great spring break. I hope everybody was able to have either a good time or relax or a little bit of both. And are back refreshed and ready to kind of finish up this semester as we kind of are past the midway point and kind of on the downhill slope at this point. So this week we are covering chapter 8 of Over Peers. So you still have your or your discussion to do and your quiz. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Your discussion this week is via Flipgrid, so keep that in mind. But I know by now we should be pretty comfortable in doing those two things. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on that. You do have your rough draft of your research paper due on Friday at 11:59. So that's kind of the big thing coming up for you guys this week. You should be able to see your test grades, I believe, but I'll double check that. But those should be posted. If you don't see that, let me know. Or if you have any questions on that, let me know. But again, your rough draft of your paper is due this Friday at 11:59. I've had a couple questions on that, so here is right here is a paper rubric. So if you open that, ignore the fall. Obviously, it's spring 2019, and kind of ignore the points too, because it's not accurate total. Because your paper is worth 125 points, I believe, and this says 100. So ignore that point total. But in terms of your final paper, you kind of need to see what areas need to be covered over here, and then just kind of what is needed to get an A, get a B, get a C, get a D, etc. So you can kind of see what's expected to be in those grade ranges on your final paper. Now, obviously, on your rough draft, I'm not expecting a complete paper. Your final paper is expected to be 5 to 6 pages of written text. So that doesn't include, obviously, your title page or your reference. Those two pages, your reference page, your title page and your reference page do not count into your page numbers for written text. So you should have 5 pages of written text. So on your rough draft, you should have roughly half of that. You should have 2 to 3 pages, somewhere in that range. Your rough draft is only worth 30 points. Keep that in mind. But to be able to earn your full points, you should about have half of it done. So keep that in mind as you're working on your rough draft. I expect to see about 2 to 3 pages completed for your rough draft. You should have most of your references listed on there. I understand if you've had to change some of them, or maybe you've changed your topic a little bit since either the topic assignment or the article summary assignment. I understand that. Maybe you got into some articles and thought, this sounds like a good topic. I'll kind of switch. That's fine. So that's not a problem. But just make sure you still need to have at least 5 articles referenced in your paper. And I think if you have those 5 now, it will make the rough draft easier and more complete. So keep that in mind. If you guys have any questions on the rough draft, let me know. It is like I said, it's a rough draft, so I'm not looking for it to be a completed paper. I'm not going to grade it as I would a completed paper. It's meant for you guys to be able to get some feedback before you get to your final paper, so that you can get some ideas of maybe some directions to go, or corrections to make, or things to look for, or questions to think about. And so hopefully it's meant to give you a good starting point for your final paper, but also give you a chance to get some feedback before you get to that point on your final paper. So that's kind of the goal of the rough draft. And so I hope that is something that is useful for you guys. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. And if you run into any trouble finishing anything with references or anything, let me know. Always and keep in mind too, this paper should be APA format. So if you are unsure of that, you can always ask, but you can also use internet resources. There's several. I use Purdue Owl has a pretty good APA reference. So that's a good one to use. and also you can do your citations, or not your citations, but your reference page. You can use Citation Monkey, which gets you a pretty accurate APA style citation or reference for your reference page. So keep that in mind too. Those are a couple. You can also Google APA, and there's a bunch of resources out there um, to help you with the formatting and any style guides or questions you may have. So use those. If you have any questions, just make sure you're kind of sticking to APA as best you can. And it's okay to reference those resources because I still do it on almost every paper I write, because they do change in terms of what is considered APA style. Um, and some things you may not use enough to remember in terms of how that's supposed to look. So it's okay to use those references, and I encourage you to do that. But keep that in mind. That's your big thing to do this week outside of your quiz and your discussion and your reading, is to get that rough draft done. So keep in mind that's due Friday at 11:59 p.m. If you have any questions, there's obviously plenty of time to do that and ask those questions. Other than that, I will check back in with you guys later in the week.